We got a big one coming up this weekend. I mentioned I'm like this is exciting. People are doing new things during the coronavirus, and we're all at home quarantining. And mine was finally getting into pro wrestling. I've been watching the old WrestleManias that ESPN's been airing over the course of the last few weekends, now leading up to a new WrestleMania, something here that'll be happening this weekend. WrestleMania 36 is happening this weekend. And so, in order to discuss that further and to get some information, because this is going to be the first sporting event that's really happened, at least in America, since this is all went down. And so we're excited to be joined now by WWE Executive Vice President Triple H with us, Vice President of Global Strategy and Development with us here on Golic and Wingo. And we appreciate the time. I saw in an interview you did that you said you felt an obligation to go on with this event this weekend. Why is that?
I just think we're an entertainment company, and we kind of cross that line between both sports and entertainment. I think in this time, particularly right now, where everybody's going through this, this pandemic and just unsure about everything and just nervous and hearing it and getting barraged by it 24/7, that in a time like this, you need entertainment more now than ever. And for us, if we can create safely, obviously, first and foremost is the safety of our staff, crew, and talent. But if we can create a diversion, if we can create an entertainment source that allows people to forget about all this crap for a couple of hours, then that's worth it to us. And we feel like that is our obligation, is to entertain people. Our mission at WWE is put smiles on people's faces. And that's what we plan to do this weekend with WrestleMania. It'll be totally different than it's ever been before. There won't be 80,000 screaming fans there in attendance like there would have been if things were normal at Raymond James Stadium. But we're going to put out our best effort. Our talent are going to go the extra mile, and we're going to really try our damnedest to entertain people at this time when they need it the most.
And as he just mentioned there, the event was originally supposed to be at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, instead held behind closed doors at your guys' training facility in Orlando, which I want to get to in a second.
And I still remember WrestleMania 1. I actually watched it in an arena in Houston. I was just drafted by the Houston Oilers. The event was in March in New York, WrestleMania 1. Man, the memories, incredible entertainment, no doubt about it. But as you just mentioned, an obligation to entertain, which you guys do, but then you mentioned the other part of it in a safe manner. So kind of take us through the process, because we know one of the wrestlers pulled out of this or didn't want to do it for health reasons. So kind of take us through the process of how safely this was done.
Yeah, well, so first and foremost, any of our performers or staff or crew that don't want to be a part of this, everybody has their personal feelings of it, or their nervousness of it, or also pre-existing conditions or family conditions or anything. There's no obligation or pressure on anybody's part to do this. If they want to do it, they're welcome to be a part of it. If they don't, it's not going to be held against them, and they're not required to be in this. We have done everything that we possibly can to try to ensure everybody's safety, from following CDC recommendations and working with state and local officials to having this be in a closed set environment. Our performance center is a space normally where we're training future athletes, but it's also set up for production capabilities there. We're able to do it there in a manner where we can screen people coming in. We can use all the recommendations that are being given to us by CDC and by everybody else of how to do this as safely as possible, try to limit their exposure to each other. We brought talent in waves, so talent might come in and do their part of the show and then leave, so that there's not too many people in the location of each other. We've been doing an incredible amount of cleaning in between everything and disinfecting and to the max of our abilities, and are trying to do it as safely as possible. And so far it's been pretty good. And hopefully we can continue to put on the show that we've been putting on.
Triple H with us on Golic and Wingo, WWE Executive Vice President, Global Talent Strategy and Development. I'm curious, as you guys announced that you were going along with this and the changes made, was there any blowback from fans, whether it was because it was going to be private or because it was being held at all during the times that are going on right now?
Yeah, I think, of course, there were, and as you've seen it in sports, the truth is everybody's trying to deal with this in the best way they can. We're different from sport in that, as you mentioned earlier, as you were leading into this, team sports are different, just a different functional way in which they have to survive, and putting everybody on a plane all together, the entire team, the medical staff, the crew, everybody that needs to go, flying them to another city, all competing against each other, then flying someplace else. That's really not what we can do. We have a bit of a unique ability to be able to go to a closed environment, to be able to go to a closed set, to be able to bring people in a more individualized manner, to keep our staff and crew as best as possible away from each other and sort of singularly do these events. So it's been a much different process for us to be able to accomplish all of this. And I think that's where our adaptive process is much easier, because we can evolve. Wrestling over the decades has been, was there at the start of television, where it was held just like this in empty studio sets with just the performers there. Sometimes there was 10 fans in attendance, sometimes 25, and it's evolved over the years to, like you said, WrestleMania 1 was Madison Square Garden and held, it sold out Madison Square Garden, but held on closed circuit for people around the world, and they went to stadiums and theaters and watched it, to now where it's in front of hundreds of thousands, sometimes in stadiums and being seen live around the world on every device that you can, on our network and on pay-per-view and on every other way possible to see it. So it's been an evolution. This is a tricky year for us, but we're doing everything we can to try to ensure that just that entertainment value. I think in this time that there's funny when you hear people talk about this, the level of need of something to take their mind off of this. People are, going out of their way to try to find other sources of things to do while they're home and quarantined. And, hopefully we can be some of that distraction.
Talking to Triple H, the Executive Vice President of Global Talent Strategy and Development for the WWE, also put in that Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame last year as well. So listen, we know this is going to be unbelievably popular. Tons of people are going to watch this. Wrestling is so popular. So that being said, what's scheduled next? What is going through everybody's minds as what you can try and do next?
Yeah, I think this is where it becomes difficult for everybody is where do we go from here? It's hard to envision what the world is like on the other side of this. I was listening to you guys as you were coming on the air with me, and you're talking about the NFL in September. Man, it's hard to even envision what September looks like at this point, because it's only 3 weeks ago or so that this really all became sort of in the forefront of people's mind, where it was almost unthinkable of, they're shutting some things down. They're limiting some things to, within a very short period of time, everybody's locked in their house and no one can go anywhere. So it's hard to envision the next few months, but we're going to try, as long as it's safe for our performers and for everybody else. If we can continue to provide that level of entertainment, whether it's our weekly Raw shows, they're going to have to be done, obviously, in a different format. Some of it's going to have to be pre-recorded. Some of it will be live. But whatever we can do to try to continue the product and try to continue to entertain people. And there are going to be people that criticize that. There are going to be people, as you asked before, that are going to say, well, why not just postpone it? Why not just push it off till when this is all over? The truth is, you don't know when it's going to be over. And I think that sort of right now is when people really need this. There's nothing new happening. There are movies aren't being made, new TV shows aren't being created, sports are shut down. We find ourselves in a unique position where we can continue to provide a distraction for people, and if we can, we will, as long as it's safe for everybody.
And to that end, are the athletes required to be tested going into this event? Was that a part of the process for you guys to ensure that safety? Well,
as you know, testing is really difficult in that you can't really get tests outside of medical facilities. They're needed for everything else. So, we are working with medical recommendations that we've been given through CDC, through governments, through local authorities to make sure we're doing everything we can. Our medical experts from Dr. Joe Maroon and Jeff Dugas have made recommendations, and there's a screening process. Anybody that has any sort of ill feeling in any way or has somebody at home that is not feeling well, we ask them not to come. They are screened before they walk through the door. Their temperatures are taken, everything. They go through a medical screening process. And once they're cleared, they're given a band that allows them to come into the facility. If they're not given that band, they're not allowed through the doors. They're tested before they walk in. So, we're doing the best we can, as is everybody right now, to try to control this thing and to flatten the curve, as they say, and trying not to take risks in doing it, but also try to provide that service of giving people something to be entertained by.
It's certainly going to be an entertaining weekend. I think we are all, like you said, looking forward to that. So, Triple, appreciate you joining us this morning. Best of luck with everything this weekend, and we're looking forward to watching and seeing how it goes out.
Thank you, guys. Again, this is a little different this year. Nobody's going to be there cheering and screaming, but these talent, they're gonna go the extra mile to entertain you. It's over 2 nights on Saturday and Sunday. It was just too big for us to do it one night this year. So hopefully everybody enjoys, and I hope everybody stays safe out there and can enjoy this in the comfort of their own homes, and can do it the safest way possible. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Stay home and watch WrestleMania.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.